A hole in the sun, and 3 days of darkness.
Plus, a Thor News solution to the chaos and madness that might ensue if 3 days of darkness ever did show up. Okay, great. Let us get started in this wild adventure. That's right, you heard it here 10th.
Soho has uncovered a gigantic hole covering 1/4 of the sun. That's a fourth, people. Spewing solar wind into space. Hey, no need to worry. This is perfectly normal for this never happened before new normal, bizarre, minimal solar maximum that is double peaked. You know what I'm saying? No, neither do I. So get your dancing shoes on as we cover them in concrete so you can stand there all day staring at the quarter black hole sun. That's not true, man. The sun looks the same from the ground. It's just a coronal hole. You can only see it in one of NASA's special EUVI filters. Did I say that right? Hey, so if that quarter grows into a whole sun hole, does that mean 3 days of darkness? That was the first thing I thought when I saw the picture of the giant hole in the sun. Like, if that thing covers the whole sun, then I guess a quarter would have to grow 4 times. I don't know, somebody else do the math. Would we get 3 days of darkness? And here's my solution, because several religions have mentioned 3 days of darkness in the past, including Christianity. Well, if 3 days of darkness ever do come around, I have a solution. I think the government, ahead of time, should announce that if 3 days of darkness ever do happen, that everybody gets 3 days of paid vacation. Even if you don't have a job, or if you got a job. The government, I mean, they're printing money anyways. Might as well tell people, hey, there are 3 days of darkness, stay home, grill out, have a 3-night dance party, and then when the sun turns back on, you know, you guys, we'll send you guys all a check for your normal wages, or, you know, I guess if you don't have a job, you get paid, like, let's say $20 an hour, and, you know, you get paid for every hour of the 3 days of darkness. Like I said, we're printing already, what would it matter? That way, if the sun did darken for 3 days, people would be excited and be like, okay, let's party. Whereas if you didn't have something in place like that, and there were 3 days of darkness, I think people would freak out, go crazy, start to kill each other, set things on fire, and it would be like Plague of Madness, wackos everywhere. So the Thor News offers a solution. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm here for, man. To offer solutions. I mean, I highly recommend it. If you pre-announce that during a 3-day sun blackout, or let's say red out, everybody gets a paid vacation. That will keep down the rioting, raping, and the total freakouts that would occur during that time period. Wouldn't you agree? But I don't know, man. The government operates way totally differently than Thor News does. Because maybe if you told people that they get paid vacation if the sun blacked out for 3 days, people would start to freak out. You know, like, oh my God, the sun's going to turn black for 3 days. But the whole thing about the sun is like, let's say in the 10,000 years we've been recording our knowledge of the sun, that is a fractal fraction of the sun's 5 to 10 billion year lifespan, right? We know nothing, Jon Snow, don't you know? Math has yet to conquer and fully explain the sun. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but it's true. In this situation, once again, we find science in the Holy Bible diametrically opposed on opposite ends of opposite sides of the 3 days of darkness idea. The Bible says Moses raised his hand and boom, there are 3 days of darkness. I believe the official statement of science is the sun will stay as is for about another 5 billion years of year. I do believe the official science statement is that the sun will stay as is for 5 billion years until its fuel runs out, and that the Marauder minimum would be the maximum weirdness the sun might ever be capable of pulling off in any lifetimes during those 5 billion years. So calm down and don't worry about the sun. If you ask me, I'm like, hey dude, it's the universe. Anything is possible. Asterisk. Either way though, it's better to have a plan, a backup plan, or a contingency plan than no plan at all. Am I right? Yes. You know what's weird? I just realized this. Nobody gets their holy panties in a wad. If I write a thank you letter to, like, let's say an electric company or like an oil company saying thanks for providing me with energy. But if I write a thank you letter to the sun, people accuse you of being a sun worshiper. And let me tell you something. Like, we wouldn't have life. We would not have life at all without the sun. And gives me a ton of free energy and light half of every single day. So shouldn't we be at least a little bit thankful of the sun? You know, if you don't believe that, you got shiz fugged up, man. I said shiz, S-H-S-Z. Fug, F-U-G-G-E-D. But no, seriously, I mean, to not even be thankful in the sun at all, that's crazy. I mean, the sun is probably the most important thing outside of God to life that we know, right? Darkness. Charlie Murphy. We get 3 days of Charlie Murphy. That'd be great, huh? Big Canes. Anyway, you've got basically 3 mentions of 3 days of darkness in the Holy Bible. You got from Exodus 10:22, and Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt for 3 days. There's one. Joel touches on the subject of 3 days of darkness in 2:30, and Acts repeats the same statement in 2:19. And I will shew wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. Whoa. And the sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord. There you go. I mean, it doesn't say 3 days, but he does say that the sun shall be turned into darkness. And then Matthew 24:29-31, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And supposedly there was a Mayan story, tale of 3 days of darkness, a Hopi prophecy of 3 days of darkness, which would lead us into the next age, which would tie in with the age of Aquarius. So I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I think the sun's capable of anything, and somehow the 3 days of darkness myth has floated around there. Or idea has floated around there for a while, so, comets are a sign of prophecy. Who knows? Maybe Ison's dust tail will be so dusty, with trillions and trillions, it'll just block out the sun for 3 days. Maybe it's like dark matter comet. Okay, I'm done. No, I gotta go to bed, man. Tired.
For this never happened before. Will you dogs shut up? You guys always bark at nothing. You take a break barking at nothing? Seriously. I'm recording the show here, man. Respect the YouTube channel.
Okay, I'm out of here.
Thor News presents
Giant coronal hole in the sun and 3 days of darkness.
plus a Thor News solution to the chaos and madness that might ensue if 3 days of darkness ever did show up. Okay, great. Let us get started in this wild adventure. That's right, you heard it here 10th.
Soho has uncovered a gigantic hole covering 1/4 of the sun. That's a fourth, people. Spewing solar wind into space. Hey, no need to worry. This is perfectly normal for this never happened before new normal, bizarre minimal solar maximum that is double peaked. You know what I'm saying? No, neither do I. So get your dancing shoes on as we cover them in concrete so you can stand there all day staring at the quarter black hole sun. That's not true, man. The sun looks the same from the ground. It's just a coronal hole. You can only see it in one of NASA's special EUVI filters. Did I say that right? Hey, so if that quarter grows into a whole sun hole,